Do you want to sell your products in person but don't know how to find the right events? I've been there. Let me help you. Today I'm going to break down exactly how to find the right markups, pop-ups, in-person events for your small business so that you're not attending every random event and just hoping for the best. Let's get into it. Hi candle friends, welcome back to the channel, or if you are new here, hello. I am Ashley. I am the owner of Mrs. Frizz & Co., a small handmade candle brand located in Ontario, Canada. On this channel, we talk about everything from candles to a behind the scenes look at owning a handmade brand. If that's something that interests you, I would love for you to hit the subscribe button. Today, I just wanted to film a really short video. I've had a few people reach out to me asking about how I find and book my markets for the season. Markets are a huge way to connect with your customers, build brand awareness, and let's be real, honestly, sell some product. At Mrs. Frizz & Co., markets are a huge part of our business model. And I just thought it would be helpful to share my strategy with you about how I source and book my markets for the season. So let's get right into it. So when we start looking for our markets, the first thing we're going to do is set our boundaries. That's going to be, how far are you willing to travel for these shows? I have 3 little kids, and when I'm not home, that's taking time away from my family. So I don't like to go any further than like half hour, 45 minutes away from home. A day where the show is 4 hours, if you think you might have an hour of setup, an hour of teardown, and then if you're going to be in the car for another 2 hours, you're already looking at an 8-hour day. The further away that show is, the more that time ramps up. So I always set my boundaries, and that's where I will focus. The first way that we're going to look for shows is obviously the internet. You're going to scour Google, Facebook, city and tourism websites. Honestly, one of the most helpful tools I found this year was ChatGPT. It was able to find a bunch of markets that I did not know about. So that was super helpful. So that's going to be our first step. Set your boundaries and do an internet search. The next thing I would do is network with some vendors. People who have done these shows in the past, which is usually pretty easy to find once you've looked at the market's web pages or Facebooks. Find some of the vendors that you see participating in the events and feel free to send them a DM. Ask them about the market. There's no harm, no foul. You know, more vendors than not are willing to help fellow small businesses. So I wouldn't be scared to reach out. But if that's not really your thing, I get it. Creep them on their Instagram, creep them on their TikToks. Most vendors will post at markets that they attend. So look around, see if you can find a little information. See if they mentioned that it was a great day, or if, you know, if they don't post anything, that could give you a little information too. So again, once you've started doing markets, you're also going to get to know vendors, and this part's going to be a lot easier. So while we are creeping on other vendors, you might as well creep on the markets as well. Most farmers markets, larger markets, lots of pop-ups. They'll also have their own Instagrams, TikToks, Facebooks. So watch those. See if their vibe feels like something that would work for you and how you market your business. So sometimes a good thing to get in with also is market organizers. So there's lots of large market organizers who operate many events through the year. Handmade Markets Toronto operates, 20 plus shows a year. So you can also always reach out to the event organizers and see what they're offering, see if they still have spots to fill. And sometimes it's nice to get in, even with a farmer's market might hold the farmer's market for the season, but they might also do a few Christmas shows. Lots of the event organizers, once they kind of have their name established, will dabble in additional events so that they're not just doing shows in the summer. Lots of local small businesses will host pop-ups. I know we have a general store in our town, and every weekend they host pop-ups with a handful of small creators. So definitely, if you know of any of these in your area, you should reach out to that small business and see if they have any events coming up. There is a really nice barn. I live in the north. There's a very nice barn, and they host some really cool pop-up shops. And so in January, I just sent them an email and asked if they had anything on the books yet for this year, if I could apply. They didn't have anything firmed up yet, but they did take my information and added me to the vendor list. So I've already received an email since then about the first event that they're hosting. So if you know of different market organizers, feel free to just reach out to them too. See if there's a list you can get your name onto so that you are in the loop when events do come up. You are going to need to firstly determine what is your market budget, because it can add up. I pay anywhere between, a farmer's market can cost $25 a day for a stall versus a very popular heavy foot traffic holiday market could be upwards of $300 a day. So you really need to decide what your market budget's going to be. I know if you want to do like the one of a kind show in Toronto, that investment can be thousands of dollars. I also find that when vetting markets, if they spend the time and, focus on their socials, I usually find that means that they're a pretty engaged event organizer, which is just better. They're going to spend time marketing the events, and they're going to want to make their event. You can walk into an event and it's just a bunch of tables and it's, then you're going to walk into an event and they have balloon arches and mimosas being handed out. And I'm telling you, it changes the vibe for the shoppers. So you definitely want to make sure that your market is something that the event organizers really care about and put time and effort into, and it's not just a cash grab, because that will show to the customers that come through and they might not return. Once you've narrowed down what markets you want to apply for, I would highly suggest vetting the market. You want to know kind of what the foot traffic was. This is going to determine how much money you're going to make. If it is a market that only brings in 50 to 100 customers, it's probably not going to be a great day. If it's a market where there could be a few thousand people walking through, you're obviously going to do better. I'm not saying don't do the smaller markets. I love some smaller markets, but I'm also not going to pay a $300 vendor fee for 100 potential customers. $300 for 10 plus thousand is a steal and a no-brainer. So you definitely want to figure out what you're willing to pay for markets, because they really can add up. Again, this is why I love farmers markets. They are a low cost entrance fee and they have pretty solid foot traffic. So for me, I've always done really well at farmers markets and holiday shows. This is again going to depend on your product, because candles are definitely more of a seasonal item than, say, dip mixes. You sell dip mix, people want that 12 months a year. Candles obviously are more geared towards like Q3 and Q4 at the end of the year, seasonal holidays. So I definitely need to push a little more to sell earlier in the year. But that's going to be dependent on your products. So we found the markets, we have researched and vetted the markets. Now we're going to apply for the market. The one tip I have for you here is make sure you have some nice product photos that you can send to the vendors, especially if you've never participated in their markets before. Quite often they will ask for these. It's just a nice thing to have on hand. It makes it easy to send. I've created a few in Canva, collages, just with a bunch of different pictures of my products, and I can attach them or send them in an email separately to my application. you definitely want to be prepared to show your product to the hosts of the markets. One more thing I just really quickly wanted to touch on is it is March 11th and my schedule is pretty much booked for the remainder of the year. I'm not saying this to scare you or to make you believe that you have missed your opportunity at markets. There's always going to be opportunities that pop up, but larger markets, very well organized markets, and seasonal markets. So for example, like a farmer's market that runs from May to October, they're booking now, they are opening soon, you know? So, and for the very large markets, they start advertising very early. So personally, my very large markets are all Christmas markets, but they're going to start advertising in the summer for their Christmas markets. So they're booking vendors now. So again, not trying to scare you, but if you are looking for shows for this season, you really need to get on it, especially if you are in a popular niche, such as myself. You need to be, you know, in the initial round of applications when you're applying as a candle vendor, because there's lots of us out there, and most markets, good markets, will not have 12 candle vendors at the same show. I guess depending on size, but you know what I mean? So, or at least, you know, I've done shows where there's been other candle vendors, but we've had very different products. So just something to think about while you're looking for your shows. Okay, so I just really quickly want to recap how we're going to find our markets this year. We're going to set our boundaries. We're going to do our internet and ChatGPT searches. We're going to network with other vendors or just stalk their socials if we're not willing to reach out yet. We are going to research market coordinators, see what shows they have to offer, if their vibe kind of fits with ours. We're then going to vet all of these markets before we even think about applying to anything. And once we have our budget set and we know exactly what we're looking for, we are going to create our product photo sheets, and then we are going to apply. And once we get tons of acceptances back, we are going to go crush our market season. And just really quick, guys, I want you to know that I've been waitlisted before. It happens to the best of us, especially if you're in a very popular niche. So if you don't get accepted to every market, like, don't feel bad. It's normal. And you know what? It gives you something to strive for next year. I got waitlisted to an event this year, and I'm already looking forward to applying for it next year with all of my photos and videos of my markets that I'm completing this year, because I know I'm going to absolutely crush it, and they're going to be begging for me to do their show next year, and I might already be busy that day. But anyways, once you've done a couple of markets, this process is going to get a lot easier. I know it can seem a little daunting at the beginning, especially if you are fresh and have no idea where to start. But once you've done a couple markets, build some alliances with other vendors, and it makes it really easy to kind of piggyback off of what markets they're doing, and vice versa. So that is a big part of my strategy now. I'm not doing as much of the Googling and whatnot. Your first season of markets is going to be overwhelming and scary. I get it. But it's going to be okay. I promise. If I can survive it, you can survive. So, how many markets are you planning on applying for? Let me know in the comments below. And if you found this video helpful, please feel free to hit like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. Bye, candle friends.